Hey everybody, I just wanted to share some of my stories from being on the set for Stranger Things 4. I couldn't really say anything before, but now that it's out and hopefully you've seen it, I just want to tell you about some of my experience, and it's quite a fun time. So real quick, let's talk about what I do, what my role is in all this, all right? People ask me, how'd you get on that show, or are you famous? I'm like, okay, so I do background acting. I've been doing background acting for a few years, and I fell into it mainly on Stranger Things Season 3, Episode 6, I get picked to be a carnival worker. I don't know what that says about me. But anyway, and then I got called a week later, emailed a week later to be, on the theater scene, the Back to the Future, which is Season 3, Episode 7. And long story short, I was completely featured on that. I got handpicked by the director, and I got moved to sit right next to Robin and Steve in the theater, and there I am, sipping a Coke, watching Back to the Future with Robin and Steve. And people are calling me like, "Hey, I saw you," and I just fell into it. And so then I got a bug for it. I really liked it. I liked being a professional set, and then I started doing other things. So I've been on Ozark. I'm on the Richard Jewell film, Stargirl DC. I was a teacher on that. Sweet Magnolias on Netflix, I'm on that. Senior Year movie just came out, I'm on that. I'm on a lot of things. If you can check out my IMDb website, it tells you what I've been on. You can look at my regular website, cpdrumming.com. Not the reason why I'm doing this video, but if you just want to know what I'm doing or what I've been on, those are the things. But that's all background stuff. But I've been very lucky to be featured. Something about my face, I hate shaving. I hate the way I look anymore. I love the beard look. But when I shave, I have to shave for the film. Something about my face looks different, looks unique, whatever, heinous, beautiful, whatever you want to call it. And I seem to get just luckily chosen for these things, and particularly for Stranger Things. And so whatever it is, thank you for the face gods or whoever is blessing me, or the directors, or the luck of the planets that day. I've been chosen. So that's what I do, background acting. Again, I'm going to be hopefully doing some other things, and I'll let you know soon about my speaking roles that are coming out. Okay, let's go on with the story. So here we go. So if you haven't seen it yet, there are going to be some spoiler alerts on here maybe. I might mention some storylines, but I'm going to go in order of the episodes. So on Season 4, Episode 1, called The Hellfire Club, the very first thing that I'm in is about 13 minutes in or so. It's a back to school scene, and the camera's coming down the thing. And as it approaches the school bus, I am Max's school bus driver. And that day was really cool. That was actually filmed on June 30th, 2021. That was actually the last thing that I filmed. By the way, I want to interject, shout out to my friends Linda Robinson and Sandra Powell, who I met on the set as teachers, Stranger Things, and they're all got their moments in the show as well. I think Linda is driving the Jeep on the first day of school in the yellow dress, and Sandra is at family video, walks up behind Steve in Episode 2. So, hey ladies, you're amazing. It was so fun, and I hope we get to work on ST5 together again. So, boom, see you soon. Anyway, back to the story. It was a hot day and at this location in Atlanta, and there was no air conditioning on the school bus, and we all had masks on because we're still COVID, and you have to be safe on the set. And actually there was a lady, once I got placed on the bus with me were also a bunch of middle school kids and high school kids. And if you know me, I'm a music teacher, that's my wheelhouse, right? I know kids, I talk to kids. And so we had a good relationship going. I was talking with the kids and we were having fun. I was telling them who I was, and they were telling me about themselves. And there was a lady that was in charge of the kids to make sure that they're okay and that they're feeling well. And she actually came on the bus and took us off the bus a few times because it was so hot. It was probably like 94 degrees, but it got hotter on the bus, so we would go off the bus and take a few breaks. So at one point, she allowed us to just completely take off our masks because we've all had been tested multiple times that week, right? So nobody on that bus, at least at that point, had COVID, and we were all safe. And so got back on the bus, and Sadie sings double, or one of her photo doubles, or stand-in, sorry. She has two of them, I think. One of them I met before. This was the other one. I forget her name. Forgive me. She got on the bus, and I was like, oh, so Sadie's going to be on the bus, I'm thinking to myself. I said, the kids are going to love this. So she gets off the bus. We're prepping to do the shot, and all I got to do is open the bus door and wave to kids or whatever. And I tell the kids, I said, hey, you guys know you guys know that Sadie's going to be on the bus with us. So they're like, what? I'm like, are we going to play it cool? Are you going to be cool? Everybody is going to be cool, right? Don't bug her, don't bother her. And they're like, yeah, we'll be cool, okay. And eventually, Sadie got on the bus, and I said, hey, how's it going, Sadie? She's like, hey, what's up, or whatever. She had her cassette Walkman on and everything like that. But she was pretty quiet. She was pretty, dark, quiet, like to herself. She sat next to a little boy, and she talked to him for a minute, which I think was cute. And he was like, hi. She was like, what's your name? He's like, my name's Steven, or whatever. It was really adorable. And a couple times before Sadie had got on the bus, the kids were bored. It was getting hot. So I was like, hey, let's do the wave. So I'm like, you guys know how to do the wave? So we did the wave from the front of the bus to the back of the bus, And the assistant director and the production assistant and the lady who was in charge of the kids were all outside the bus. And she was like, she gave me the heart sign. She's like, oh, that's so cute. We were like, yeah, let's do the wave. So we did the wave a few times on the bus. And eventually Sadie got on. And we did this take. And we were doing a couple takes to get the timing right for her coming off the bus when the camera came in from the parking lot. So one time when we were all kind of frustrated, it was kind of hot, and I was like, you know what, guys, I think we need to do the wave. Now, we hadn't done the wave with Sadie on the bus. So I turned around, I talked to Sadie a little bit. She told me that her parents were teachers, and I didn't want to bug her too much, right? You want to be professional on set. And she was like, yeah, my parents are teachers too. You're a teacher? I'm like, yeah, I teach music in Nashville and play drums and stuff. And she's like, oh, that's so cool. And she was very nice. And then we just let her do her thing. So anyway, I turned around and I said, Sadie, do you want to do the wave with us? She's like, I would love that, whether she really meant that or not. And we did the wave, and it was awesome. And the Duffer Brothers were outside, and they were like, that's so cool. They were actually, Duffer Brothers kept getting off and on the bus to give Sadie some instruction and timing. And did some takes. And that's the first thing that you see when the camera comes up to the bus. It's Sadie's getting off the bus, and we just had a great time. We were probably filming that for a good hour 15 out there in the hot heat, but it was worth it. The next thing that happens is in episode 1 is that Max is in this dark character, and this is the thing too, right? In the series, spoiler alert, you already know this if you haven't seen it, but if you're behind season 3, you're way behind. But her brother Billy gets killed by the mind flare, and so she lost her brother, and this is like, I think it's the last day of school before spring break, I'm guessing, but there's a pep rally, and she's not very peppy at all. She's super dark and super has a wall around her with her feelings. And so I look back on it, I remember the day, me, I'm always like, hey, how's it going? When I meet people, I'm very upbeat, positive, and they're like, what's wrong with this guy? Who's this goofball? And so Sadie was very nice, but she was also very, very quiet. And I was like, huh. And I knew that they'd been working long hours, right? So they were like, one day, I know that she got up at 2:30 in the morning, and it was 2:30 in the afternoon, I think, that they were still filming. And it just, obviously trying to catch up from the COVID shutdown, right? So I thought, well, maybe she's just tired. We won't bother her anymore, And no, she was actually, now that I watched the season, if you watch her and her character, she's got all this darkness going on, She doesn't want to hang out with anybody. She doesn't want to, she's just closed off. And that's what I'm like, duh, that's, now that I see it, it makes sense that that day she was completely in the character. And she's so awesome, Sadie Sink, obviously you know who she is. So I was very blessed. So anyway, what else happened was, so that day, is she's walking down the hallway, and we did a scene where myself and another teacher person who was hired to be a teacher for like a featured background person, we're in the hallway, and Sadie's walking down the hallway. She sees Lucas, and she kind of brushes him off, and she turns around the corner, and this is all in slow-mo, and I'm in the background in a green Izod sweater and a tie and these goofy looking gold rimmed glasses, and I'm talking to another teacher, and she comes around, she's walking down the hallway, and then at the end of it, you can see me right before she goes into the counselor's room. And that actual scene, that was filmed on June 21st, 2021. So about a week and a half before we filmed the school bus scene. That day was really cool that we didn't get used at all, and at the very end we got placed in that scene, and it was really cool to be in another scene with Max and to see her work so close and be such in character. What happens next is on episode 7. I actually thought this part got cut. I play a state patrol officer, and it's at the Creel house, and Victor Creel, and I won't give too much away, but just say there's this dark, creepy looking house. And this is way back on November 17th, 2020. So this is the first thing I filmed. I drove to this remote location in Georgia, somewhere north Georgia. And this place is actually a bed and breakfast. It's pretty awesome. So I guess you can go there and have breakfast sometime. But anyway, got there and I was in a waiting room with my friend Michael Mao, I believe is how you say his name, actor guy. I met him there and we had a good conversation. We were in a church conference room waiting to film for about 6 hours. We just sat there, read on our phone, hung out, ate some food. And at the one of the PAs said, well, looks like you guys won't get used today. And I'm like, man, I drove all the way here from Nashville. I took a day off work, I'm like, well, it happens, right? And at the last minute, I was actually playing the piano for some of the other PAs, and I was showing them how to play piano. There was a piano in the church thing, and we were having fun and just hanging out. And this girl comes in, she's like, you guys, let's go. Hurry up, we need you guys. State patrol officers, get in there. They'd already used 3 guys that they handpicked. So we were left over, the 4 of us. So I just happened to be the first one. We got up and we all marched across the street or whatever. And I just got lucky. I got picked. I think we all got dressed up. They put our gear on. And I just happened to get lucky and I got picked to do this crossing route right behind Kevin Johnson and the other state troopers, which is in episode 7. So what's cool about it, I won't tell you what happened, but I didn't know, I love Ozark, right? Kevin Johnson is amazing. I love his character. He's a great actor. And I didn't even know he was there because we all had masks on, right? We all had our faces covered. So you couldn't see who the actors were. And I was like, oh, who's going to be in here? I don't know. I'm like, I wasn't really caring. I was just trying to do my job. And we go to, and I have my starting point. This is kind of cool. On the main hall of the Creel house, if you watch, right, when they first go in there, there's a door and the camera follows them in on the left on the first floor. That is the room where the Duffer Brothers were in there where they could see everything, right? That was there, at least for this scene that we were doing. So they're in there, and in the corner, like this room was maybe 10 foot by 8 foot or 10 foot by 10 foot. It wasn't a big room. And so they're like, you need to start from here, and you just walk across the thing, look like you're looking for something on a crime scene, and go up the stairs. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So I had to step over like lighting, and I got in there, and I was like, I might trip over something. I have huge feet. And I turned around, and the Duffer Brothers were there. I was like, I gotta be careful. Like, I don't want to screw up or trip over a light stand or get fired. So that was really, really cool experience. And we took our masks off, and there was Kevin Johnson. I was like, inside, you professional on the set. I was like, I love Ozark. I love Kevin Johnson. He's great. So that was really neat to be on set. And actually, what was cool is after we did that, I knew that Kevin Johnson was on Stranger Things before anybody else on the outside world knew, because it was never announced. When they announced all the new characters and who the actors were, even Robert Englund from Freddy Krueger, they did not announce Kevin Johnson. And I'm guessing maybe because Ozark was coming out before that, and they didn't want a conflict. I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing Kevin Johnson being officially announced as being on Stranger Things, but he just came out, and Kevin Johnson did a couple posts on his social media because I follow him. And anyway, that was a really neat experience. Kevin was awesome, and the other State Patrol guys were awesome. And again, shout out to my buddy Michael Mao, and that was neat. The last thing the other thing that's coming up, I'm thinking that it's going to be in one of the last 2 episodes on Volume 2 on July 1st, is a scene that I filmed as a shopper, but I can't really give you that information right now. But when that comes out, I'll talk about it more, and I've got a couple of pictures and things like that to share. There's some interesting stuff. If you got any questions, again, I'm just a featured background actor guy. I got paid not that much money for the day, but I do it for the experience. I'm learning more about acting. I'm getting some training. I just did 2 independent speaking roles here, produced by the amazing film students at Lipscomb University. So I have 2 speaking roles that are coming out soon, and I'm trying to build on that. And this is something I love, right? Music, I do that, and I teach, and I play drums, and it's just another iron in the fire that I have. It's a beautiful, refreshing change of pace for me, and I love doing it. Before I go, I have to say thank you to one more person, and that is the person that makes us Background people look also good in costuming, and that's Christine Rigby. Christine, I love you. You're amazing. And Christine's got such an amazing attitude, costuming and fitting, and we actually share some laughs, and she really brings her spirit up. And she was actually on set when I was Max's bus driver at the school scene. She was encouraging me, like I was hanging out the window trying to get some air because it was so hot, and Christine is there laughing and just waving at me. She's an amazing person. So thank you, Christine, for making us look so good that we get picked for these things. And I hope to see you in the fitting room for Stranger Things 5. Bye.